Oh shit, I haven't hated myself in a year! I need something to torture myself with for the next 5 months. Well, that's 2 excuses in a row. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and comrades against the binary. My name is Sorio, and I make incredibly weird life choices, if my name didn't make that obvious enough. I've been a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog since I was a little kid, playing the classics on my GameCube, trying to beat Sonic Advance on my SP, and falling down incredibly weird YouTube rabbit holes. Does anyone remember that weird trend where people would transpose sprites of Sonic characters on photographs of, their houses? And then be voiced by those text-to-speech programs? And they turned those into YouTube series? And somehow that's not even the weirdest set of Sonic fan videos I watched on YouTube growing up. Frankly, I'm amazed none of them were kink videos. The point is, I love Sonic, as a franchise and a game series. But I've never actually played all the games. I played a lot of them. Like I said, I grew up with the Sonic games on Nintendo consoles, but there are others that I've just never touched. You know what? That ends here and now. I'm going to play every single Sonic game, and as usual, I don't actually mean that. Sonic the Hedgehog began life in 1990 when the video game company Sega decided to revamp their branding to compete with Nintendo. Their first console, the Master System, wasn't a complete failure, but it never stood a chance against the NES. Their second system, the Mega Drive, or Genesis in America, was doing better thanks to actually being more powerful than Nintendo's system, but it was still struggling in its first couple of years. Sega's solution to this problem? We need a rodent. The company held an internal contest to decide on a flagship game and mascot for the Genesis, something that would propel the system to stardom in the American market. One of the employees working on this project was an artist named Naoto Oshima, who previously worked on the Phantasy Star series as a designer. He began looking at the different character designs being submitted, and after a trip to New York, he submitted the design for a spiky teal hedgehog. His name? Mr. Hedgehog. I guess that's still technically a name for him. Credit to Wikipedia for this history lesson, by the way. I tried looking at their sources too, but most of it is in Japanese. This wasn't the full story, of course. The full story is a lot longer and, again, not in English, even though Sega's name is based on an English portmanteau. The point is, Sonic is an intentionally iconic character. There's a reason he's gotten adaptation after adaptation in movie, TV, comics, and, of course, the video games. So, if Sonic is such an iconic video game franchise, obviously there aren't just tons of main series games, but tons of spin-offs, right? Absolutely. Well, depending on your definition. Like with the Mario series, there are a lot of games made under the Sonic brand, and if we cover literally every game with Sonic in the title, I'm going to be making reviews of this series for the next 5 years. So before anything else, I need to define my terms. I'm going to be playing the main series entries, and what that means is basically arbitrary. Some of the choices are obvious, of course, like obviously Sonic 1 and 2 are going to be included. From there, though, well, let's start narrowing our field. First off, I'm not reviewing the handheld games. Not the Game Gear games like Chaos and Triple Trouble, not the GBA games like the Advance Trilogy, and none of the DS games like Rush Adventures, or whatever Chronicles was. I'm also not covering the mobile games like Jump, Dash, Runners, those kinds. There's also the obvious spin-off titles like the racing games, the Olympic crossovers, Spinball, Shuffle, Sonic the Fighters, you get it. And I'm not covering anything from the Boom continuity because quite frankly, I don't know what I could even say about it. As for what I am counting as main series, well, one shorthand rule I use is including all the games directly included in the main version of Sonic Generations. That means Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, as well as CD, plus both adventure games and Sonic Heroes. Plus Sonic 06, Unleashed, and Colors. That also means I'm playing Sonic Generations, obviously. I'm also including Shadow the Hedgehog in my playlist because I've always considered it a main series game, and besides, it's definitely more influential in the series than Drift was. I'll also be playing Sonic 4, Episodes 1 and 2, though I'll probably mash those together into one package. I don't have to do that, but I think it could be funny. And then, of course, we have Lost World Mania, Forces, Frontiers, and Superstars, which will bring us to the end of the project just in time for St. Patrick's Day 2025. That's our full list, listed completely out of order, and most of the games I'm going to be playing on GameCube because, what else am I going to do? Yeah, the adventure games on GameCube are remakes, not the originals, but I'm not going to buy a Dreamcast. Do I look like the kind of person who'd do that? And for the classic games, 1 through Knuckles, well, I don't think Origins would be terribly faithful. Otherwise, though, I'm going to at least try and play original releases of each game all the way to the end. Mostly.
Look, I would do a lot for y'all. I'm already playing some god-awful games for this project, but I'm not 100% completing any of these games, and I'm not going that far out of my way for them. I'm not going to play through the classic games multiple times just for the sake of fairness. I'm not even planning on getting the good endings in the first few games. And that's even if I beat Sonic 2 legitimately at all. I've beaten it before, I've beaten the Death Egg Robot before, but I want to get this done before I turn 50. If it makes it any better, I will play through the DLC for any games that have them, and for Sonic 3 onwards, I'm going to get the true ending. Or at the very least, I'm going to try.
Because realistically, I'm kind of in uncharted waters with this project, at least for myself. With the previous series reviews, I'd at least played a little bit of every game I planned on reviewing. Here, I had to buy not only games, but consoles just to play them on. So, I guess all that I can really do now is play through the laundry list I've set for myself. Starting off with... Actually, is it too late to make another album?